So I'm sure this has probably happened to you. You've been out someplace with friends and you always have the one straight friend who asks you the most annoying question and you're never really sure how to answer them and you wish that they would ask them another way. Or perhaps you're a straight person wondering what kind of questions you should or shouldn't be asking your LGBTQ friends. Well, join me today as I share some of the annoying questions that I've dealt with. Hey y'all, and welcome back to GayintheCLE. If it's your first time visiting, please make sure you hit that subscribe button below so that you're always kept up on any new content that I put out. If you're a returning visitor, I hope you've liked the previous videos. And I'm always looking for new things to try, so if you have ideas and suggestions for content you would like to see, please drop me a line below in the comments, or you can email me. You'll find that link at the end of this video as well as in the video description below. So it's no surprise as LGBTQ people, we get constantly asked questions that seem out of character, things that there's always someone new that we meet, usually in the straight community, that wants to ask us questions that are just a tad bit out of character. I've compiled a list of some of the annoying questions I've been asked over my life, and I would like to share them with you today. Also, my hopes is if you're of the straight community watching this, that maybe you can learn some of these annoying questions and some better ways to ask them. If you have any questions that I didn't go over here today, please drop those in the comments below. Or if you're a straight person wanting to know better ways to ask questions that you're considering asking some of your gay friends, definitely drop me a line. Hit me up in the comments and I'll be happy to help where I can. Without further ado, let's get started. First one is really triggering for me. It's, you don't look gay. Now granted, for this video I took off my rainbow cape, I'm not wearing my tiara, I don't have all of my rainbows in my ears and on my fingers. I'm really kidding, I don't dress that way most of the time. What I'm getting at is what defines someone as looking gay. Sure, if you saw me blowing some guy on a video, you probably would think, yeah, that's a gay guy. Or if I'm with my boyfriend, we're holding hands and kissing, you could probably understand too, that's what a gay man may look like. What does it mean to look gay? So when you say you don't look gay, it comes off more of as an insult than it does a compliment. I realize you're trying to make it a compliment by saying that you don't seem to look like the stereotypical TV presentation of what a gay person is. And while that may seem logical to you, for us it's also kind of hurtful. It's creating a heteronormative mindset that we're already confronted with on a daily basis. And what I mean by that is everything in society now is built off of a heterosexual point of view. And relationships, how people present themselves, how TV shows are filmed, how movies are filmed, how they market these to people are all based on heterosexual mindsets. So when you say you don't look gay, it's really reassuring to us that you're seeing us more as a passing straight person, which typically for most of us isn't what we're trying to do. It's also reaffirming of stereotypes. It's basically building support for the argument that gay people are only presented in certain ways in media. And that's something that we're all trying to change. So I'm not trying to be rude when I'm telling you that this is a ridiculous statement to make someone. The point is, maybe you should think about ways of phrasing it differently.
Question.
What?
Are we not saying phrasing anymore? Which, that's fine, whatever, but if we're doing a new thing and nobody told me, that I'd have a problem with.
To be honest, there's not really a way that that statement can be phrased in a way that sounds better. And it's just as ridiculous if I was to say to you, you don't look straight. Your question back to me would probably be something like, what do you mean? This is kind of the mindset that we're in when we hear you don't look gay. So I would say if this is something you're thinking about, don't say it to your gay friends. I'm curious what your opinions are. Please let me know if you have anything different in mind on how you handle this situation. Drop me a comment below. If you're a straight person and you don't think there's anything wrong with it, let's open up an avenue of discussion so we can see why the statement is a problem. I would love to talk about this more in depth, so please hit me up in the comments below. The next one is probably almost as triggering as that one. The question is, when did you decide to be gay? Well, when I'm asked that question, I usually phrase it as, it was early spring in 1985. It was a nice sunny morning. I was wearing a pastel pink tank top with my matching teal shorts and some brand new flip-flops that I had just gotten the previous weekend. And I was out listening to some disco relic from the 70s, just enjoying myself and having a great old time when the clouds opened up and the sun shone down on me and a voice from above said, "You're gay." Seriously, that's not how it happened. For me, realistically, I've known since I was a kid that I was different. It became much more apparent to me what my preferences were as I started to age and was dipping into my father's porn stash, and I realized very quickly that I was only looking at the pictures of the guys. I wasn't paying any attention to the women in the books. One of the first images that sticks in my head from my youth is seeing John Holmes in these magazines. And I just remember drooling over the pages of seeing this guy naked doing what he's doing. It was more of a focus on the man. So I've always known at a young age, but people are different. Some people take an entire lifetime to come out. There's no one set thing about when we know we're gay. Typically, we just know that we're different. And I get it. When you're asking this question, you're actually trying to show some kind of interest in how we have progressed from our childhood to now and dealt with the struggles and the pain and the hardships. And that's great. There's better ways that question can be phrased. Most of us, when we're going through the early stages of coming out, we're dealing with a lot of internal demons, a lot of struggles, and it's usually not pretty. So this question can be triggering for that reason alone. And probably a better way of thinking about phrasing it would be, so what was it like growing up knowing that you were different? This still shows the same kind of interest that you had in trying to learn more about your friend's past, but it also shows that you're trying to handle it in a delicate way where you're actually really curious about the experiences they went through, as opposed to a stereotypical mindset of how coming out happens. What do you think about that question? Comment below, let me know your responses that you've done for that question. How do you handle it? So a more humorous question I've been asked a lot is, I bet locker rooms were like a buffet for you, and it's usually followed up with the question that if we're in the locker room and I'm changing, are you going to stare at my dick? So the first question I'll answer, locker rooms were horrible for me growing up. If you see me, I'm not an athletic type, never have been. And being in a locker room with all of my male classmates changing was horrifying. I was more afraid that they would realize I actually did have feelings for guys, and that I might get aroused in looking at my fellow classmates as opposed to anything else. So it was always trying to hide myself so that they couldn't see what was going on in my head. I don't think for me, it's not a buffet in the same way that the question's implying. It's definitely something that was arousing because I'm attracted to men, but on the same time, it's also very scary for a young gay kid to have to think about being in that situation and wonder how his classmates are going to react. That was fun. And the second part of the question is, would you stare at my dick if I'm changing in front of you? Well, if you're naked in front of me, I'm probably going to be looking at you. But the only thing I will promise you is I'm not going to take a picture of it and put it on my blog. At least hopefully. As to the reason why locker rooms can be a buffet, so the next question is frustrating for me, especially depending on who it comes from, is you do realize that this may just be a phase, right? Well, you just watched the clip with Christopher Maloney from Oz, naked in a shower. That's what I find attractive, and I still find that attractive. I can promise you that in my 46 years that this is not a phase. I have been out since the early 90s. I have a beautiful boyfriend that I'm dating who I am hopelessly in love with. I can promise you this is not a phase. That is probably one of the worst questions or statements you can ever say to an LGBTQ person. We spend the better part of our early development struggling with being told gay is a sin, that it's an abomination, hearing all the negative comments that are surrounding us on a daily basis about how bad these people are. To have someone ask us that question or to say that to our face really harkens us back to those earlier times when we're trying to deal with struggles. So be very cognizant of how you say things to people. Gay guys always seem like they're having sex. Does that mean you get laid a lot? If you're asking me this question, my response to you is going to be, who are these gay people that you know and can you introduce me? Because I am definitely curious about how they're having sex all the time. The reality is, I don't think I have sex any more frequently than heterosexual people do. I think it stems from the fact that you think we're more sexually liberated in a lot of ways, or that we're more free with our bodies. And that's not always the case. So just remember that that question is not a specific LGBT related question. That kind of relates to anybody. How do you feel about this question if you're asked? Drop me a comment below. Let me know what it's like when you answer this question, or how do you handle it? So coming off of sex, the next weirdest question that I've been asked a lot is, are you afraid of getting HIV? Well, that is a scary question indeed. It is a shame that someone has not invented some kind of protective barrier that you can wear during intimate encounters that would protect you from infectious diseases or the swapping of bodily fluids. What would that be like? Wait a minute, have you thought about trying? It is a scary subject, and it is one that still is pervasive in our community. But it's not the only STI that you should be worried about that's out there. They are something that we need to consider, and I am an advocate for safe sex. You definitely should be protecting yourself if you're out there hooking up with people. And even if you're in a committed relationship, there's no 100%, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. It's better to carry a ringbrella. A ringbrella? What is a ringbrella? It's better to carry an umbrella and not need it than to be out in a torrential downpour soaked to death and you could have thought, if I had an umbrella. And one of the most annoying questions I have been asked is, do you know so-and-so because they're gay? So to be truthful, I moved to Ohio 4 years ago, so I've missed a lot of the local gay meetings. I haven't been paying my dues to the local gay organizations, and I haven't gotten the most updated directory of gay people of the world, so I may not know all of them by name or even by picture. No, there's not really a directory of gay people. Contrary to popular belief, we don't all know each other. Sure, we will smile and wave and say hi to other LGBT people as we see them. You know, you're safe to talk to this person because, hey, we're family. And that'll harken back to 2 videos ago where we were talking about gay slang for straight people. I'm curious how you've handled that question. Drop me a comment below if people have ever asked you that and how you've handled it. So yeah, think about your questions before you ask them. I really want to express that there are questions that are great to ask someone that you are meeting that is LGBT, and there's questions that probably need to be phrased differently. If you ever have a question about should you ask this or not, or you're curious about some of your friends and how you can interject questions to them, hit me up in the comments section. Send me an email, let me know, and I'll be happy to work through what you're going through based on my experiences. I'm not an authority, I'm just me. I can only tell you based on my experiences in life, and I'd be happy to share any of those with you. Remember to hit that subscribe button below so that you always know I've got new videos coming out. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Questions or comments, or there's content that you would love to see me cover, definitely shoot me a comment below. Send me an email, drop me a line, however you want to get it to me. Heck, send me a raven with it tied around his foot and I will try to get a video out for you. Always check out my other social media. When in doubt, hit me up on my blog, GayintheCLE.com. Thanks for joining and we'll catch you next time.